Good evening mga kalaro and welcome to the Council of Titos, the show on the Laro-Laro lang channel where Sportitos talk about a different kind of game, the reality TV game show and social experiment that has run for over 2 decades, Survivor. I'm Chief Bisdak, Joel Parcon, and with me as always is Vice Chief Bisdak, Jao Atienza. What's up, Jao? How are you doing?
Uh, you know, Survivor off season. Nothing much going on.
Well, we still have a lot going on here in the council. And we also have with us the man with the thoughts. Let's all welcome the one and only Martin. What's up, Martin?
Thoughts with Martin.
I'm talking with my council
Martin.
a few hours ago,
Yeah.
making sure the next draft for season 45 is going to be a Sir Win. It's like fantasy Survivor.
So you have your
meets
own
basketball.
council to talk about
Yes.
who you're going to pick as the winner. Wow. All right. Martin is escalating this
This
winner pick thing.
Mania.
Soon enough, there's gonna be money on the line for this. Anyway, tonight the council will take a look at all 4 seasons of the new era so far. We will talk about which ones we prefer in terms of different random categories that we as Titos have determined. But before we proceed, we hope that you could click on the like button and so you get notified whenever we have new stuff on the channel. Subscribe to the Laro-Laro channel. But without further ado, let us get right into it. Okay. So as the chief idea person for this episode, Zhao, maybe you can explain to our viewers how we're gonna do this.
Right. So I figured, right, when looking at a season of Survivor, what are the things that we look for? What are the things that we can point to and say we like this season because point to the thing? And the things that we kind of came up with were the cast, the winner, the challenges, the twists, the final tribal, Martin, Jeff, the story, the storytelling, and the fun. So cast, winner, challenges, twists, final tribal, Jeff, storytelling, and fun. And the way we're doing it is we're just ranking each season according to those, and just adding up which season has like the lowest number, because we rank them 1, 2, 3, 4, and whichever has the lowest number, that's like our personal favorite. Next, and then by the end of our episode, hopefully we can just get like an average of our total scores and see which one the council likes the best.
Okay.
In other words, none of us are going to be happy with the final outcome.
Nobody will. Nobody.
As a
Wow, what a spoiler.
Okay, so there you go. So we're gonna go through all
Alright.
of those 8 categories,
Okay.
and just maybe discuss our choices. Yeah, so let's start off with the cast, meaning we take a look at the entirety of the cast. A lot of people forget that the cast is more than just the merged tribe. So we take a look at the entirety of the cast and yeah, just determine which one we like the most. Who wants to start?
Okay. Let's start off with the cast. So we go top 1 to top 4.
Yep.
For me, maybe it's my bias. It has to be, for me, top 1 cast of season 41, top 2 cast of season 44, top 3 43, and top 4, the lowest, is 42.
Is it top if it's the lowest?
Yeah. But yeah, for last place is 42. Because for me, it's like, let's start with the one on the last. 42 feels like a big downgrade from the cast you have from 41. Like, no offense to Mary, Mike, Homer, the rest. I was okay. But when you like,
You
just
did not
compare-
like Jonathan Young?
I mean, look at it this way.
He's a wrestler.
We have a lot of Jonathan Youngs. And so was what? So was Bubba from Vanuatu. Come on, man. So was
You do not like the guy who like
so was John
literally
Morrison, man.
carried his entire team on his back.
Yeah, it got not you saw this when we were talking about 42. I was like, holy shit, Jonathan! Wow, this guy is going places. I'm like, wow, is there something else I can talk about? Like basically, he was being Roman Reigns during the season, but the rest you forget. Like what happened?
Well, we do that as Titos. We do that with all of the seasons. All of the seasons. We don't remember all of them.
So see, the guy who you just gave my point. The guy who was dominating was forgettable compared to Mary, the winner, compared to Mike, Hoboken Mike, second place, to Omar, the token Thai guy, I think my point was made.
I beg to differ. I
Okay,
beg to differ.
okay.
But anyway, yeah, that's it. That's your thing.
It was the closest thing that we got to John Morrison in the new era.
Yeah, that's true. Like, I don't know, man. 42 was like a step in casting, was a step down for me outside of like a handful of them. Maybe because we'll go to the storytelling in the next part of this episode, but I felt like the flashbacks, the origin stories of the cast of 41 was more fleshed out than the ones from 42.
Wow,
Maybe it's
you
me.
have a really good memory. I do not remember any of that. But anyway, yeah, cool. That's cool.
We got the flashback starting from 41, so obviously the expectations was high.
Mhm.
And then the
Didn't
guy
we get them in 42?
Yeah, but not as not as good. I can't explain. It's like I got Mary, I got Mike's, I got obviously Jonathan from this scrawny kid to this big hulking massive man, right? Like with the others, not much. Now to 43, your favorite winner, Gabler. I actually like most of the cast members, but again, same with 42. Like compared to 44, I kind of remember Gabler, Assman, Jesse, Jesse's partner, that lady. Crap. See,
Carla.
now I
You
forgot.
can't even remember
Carla
them.
Gadot. Carla Godoy. Yeah. So there you go. That's why I keep forgetting. That's why they're in the bottom two. And 44, maybe it's because of the recency bias. Are you guys getting that too sometimes? Like you may rank this a bit higher compared to 42, 43, 41 because of the recent cast members. And since, I don't know, since we have been talking about it ad nauseum outside, who's that guy I keep forgetting? Josh, right? I can tell you it's still Bruce who got medically evacuated the first episode. Then it goes Maddie, Helen, Claire, Sarah, Matthew, and then I think that was Joss, right? And then Matt, Brandon, Kane, Franny, Danny, Jamie, Lauren, Carson, and then we go with Carolyn, Heidi, Jam Jam. It's because of the recency bias. That's why it's in number 2. Number 1 would also be 41 because, hey, this is the cast that started the new era. And then this is the cast that I saw like go off to other projects like The Challenge. And I'm like, oh my God, look, there's Danny, there's Shan, there's the other survivors like Tyson and everyone else. Right? But you can remember it was freaking Danny, freaking Shan with the former winners like Ben, like Tyson, there's Sarah in the other challenge because that was kind of memorable while 42 was also in play that time with the Challenge US. The less said how the Challenge US ended, the better, though. That's a tip. Guys, do not watch the Challenge US. Maybe not the last episode. And that's for me. And also, the big reason for 41 being top 1 is the winner is a Filipina. Yeah. That's it.
Okay. All right. What about you, Joe?
And for me, in terms of the cast, first is 43, second is 41, third is 44, and sorry, Joel, right at the bottom is 42, but they're all quite close. Right at the top, because if we were to do a ranking of all 44 Survivor seasons, these would all rank pretty high up as like my favorite cast. But this is limited to the new era, so this is probably 42 is like the worst of the best for me. The reason that I put 44 a little bit lower than Martin is because I didn't get to see much of the cast be the cast. You know,
The second half thing.
yeah, yeah.
Okay.
Like
Valid.
the second, because we're talking about the cast as a whole, right? So it's like the post merge had like the big characters. It was the story of the Tika 3 to the detriment of everybody else. Like, you know, remember Helen, Martin?
Oh, of course. What's her face? Yes. Yes.
Remember Sarah?
So and so.
Remember Sarah? The one that was duped by the ex. I mean, it's like, you know,
It was so good. It was
that's,
so good, man. It was so
43 I
Helen
really
Lee. Helen Lee. Yeah, good old Helen Lee. Good old Helen Lee.
43 I really like, and a lot of it has to do with Jesse. And you know, I still think Jesse is a better character than Carolyn for me, because I relate to him more.
Actually, that's true.
Right, so this is like a personal thing, right? It's, you know, nothing against Carolyn. I think like you know, I think that her storytelling was the best across all seasons, but the characters that I can relate to more were the ones that I saw on 43. 41 I'm putting second, because of the strength of both the pre-merge and post-merge, right? Like a lot of the greats were in the pre-merge, right? Looking at Martin's face, right? Like JD, the doctor, like it's they if we were to have like a second chance, I think a lot of a good chunk of the 41 like second chancers would have to come from the pre-merge, but then the post-merge was really good as well. And we got like the whole Shannon Ricard thing. That's like, you know, that's great. And because I like those 3 seasons a lot, there was no other place to put 42.
42.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Now for me, it's you'll be surprised. It's not 42, and then not 42 isn't my number one. It's actually also 44.
Go, Jonathan.
It's 44. Maybe it's because it's not recency bias, but it's because I only recently started following Survivor people outside of the game. So I started following them on Twitter. But especially with 44, I'm seeing how much they love their interaction. I love how they're all interacting on online. It seems as if they're so tight with each other. At least the merged tribe, right? And then you also have the chief laziness officer. She's still tight with the rest of. What was that, right?
The Green Tribe.
Yeah, with the Green Tribe. So they're all seemingly, it seems as if they're all tight. They're still very tight with each other. And that will translate later also to another category, that the tightness of their tribe will contribute to my ranking of them in a later category. My next is 41. So they're number 2, of course, because of Erica. And then you mentioned it, Joe, Shan Ricard, I particularly like Shan's character, the with her humming and all of that, being a villain, and that duo with Ricard was really for me it was it was really good. And then you have 43 because of Jesse. I think that that was the first time I noticed that they were making sure that they had a focal person as the point of the series, right? Of the season. I don't know if that's happened any other season, but it seems as if and they were effective in telling Jesse's story.
Mm.
And I liked it. I liked and yeah, the him, Cody, Gabler, well, yeah, Carla as well, even Cassidy. They were all for me. They really made the cast really good. And yeah, the last one actually is still 42 for me. Yeah, I was just pulling Martin's leg. Aside from Jonathan, and I mean, yeah, you all saw that. I don't really quite like Marianne. She's too much for me, right?
Mm.
So yeah, that will go to that other category as well. So aside from Jonathan and Hoboken Mike, none of the and high. It was high on this season, right?
Mm.
Yeah,
Yeah,
high on high. High
yeah.
on-
We got high on high. So yeah, and apart from that, the us finding out that there was an issue in Ponderosa, right? It was this
Ooh,
cast, right? It was
yeah,
42 that had an issue, and
Yeah,
was it them? Yeah, it was them,
Homer and
right?
Drea.
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 I had to
So
read
yeah,
of
in
that
terms of
after you
cast, so
mentioned.
it's 44, 41, 43, and 42. Yo,
Right.
there you go.
So from
Let's
cast,
go on to our next category, which is the winner. I think that we're gonna be unanimous for this.
We're all gonna be unanimous with
For number
41
one.
as
Yeah.
it
being
has
number
to be
one, right?
40. Yes, yes,
Yeah.
yeah. Okay, good. Okay, good. Okay,
Just so we're clear. Just so we're clear.
so we're clear. So we're clear.
This is my Filipino card. It's going in my
Yeah.
This is
pocket.
our Filipino card, I think.
Our kababayan card.
Yeah, the kababayan card.
Our
Yeah.
kababayan card. It will be revoked if we don't say that.
Okay, but so we all have the same number one.
Yeah. Yes.
Who do you have for number two, Joe?
For
Two,
you,
three,
Joe.
four.
Yeah.
Right.
You go first,
2,
yeah.
3, 4 for number 2. It is Survivor. It is 44
Mm.
Whoa.
because
Okay.
Jam Jam just had such a was just I really like Jam Jam as a winner. Just the way he played, just the way he played the game overall. And you know, it is he just seems like a really likable winner.
Mhm.
Right?
Yes.
For number 3, I have 42.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Mhm. Mhm.
Okay.
Mhm. Because
That's
Marianne,
Okay.
Marianne doing it for the weird kids, right?
Mm.
And once again, because there's nowhere else to put him. Sorry, Joel. I have
Gabler.
I have Gabler at number 4.
Shit.
Yeah. This is just based on feelings, really.
Well, a lot of the things that we're doing here is based on feelings. I don't think we did that much of a scientific study on.
So, well, just the question that I have had was Marianne or Gabler.
Mm.
Okay.
And I think the show showed us a better game for Marianne.
I get it. I get it. Yeah.
Agreed.
Yeah, I can
Right?
see it. Yep.
So that was how I was like that was how I broke the tie. The other way that I could have done it was Gabler gave the money to charity.
Mm.
He's a better, but you know, like I'm going with what the show showed us as sort of their gameplay.
Yeah.
It could have just as easily gone the other way. If I had you know, if I had taken the charity thing into consideration.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Right. So there. What about
Okay.
you guys?
Yeah, well, Marts, outside
s-
of Erica, who are your second, fourth?
strangely enough, we have the same ranking, Joe.
Hey!
Whoa,
Ooh.
that's why like
Well, yeah, of course you're gonna put Jam Jam second because he was your winner pick.
yeah, like holy shit, and also recency bias, but it had a similar kind of feel of the win with him and Erica, sans the shillelagh of time, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
It's a feel good pick. I don't think he was picked out of spite
Mm-hmm.
compared to like earlier
Mm.
seasons, like a Natalie White to Russell Hands
Yeah.
or a Tina Wesson to Colby because Colby spurned the advances of Jerry or something like that. So, you know,
You're going really old school.
Yeah.
uh, so that's why he's the number two. Number three is Marianne because I really thought it was a very close race between her and Mike.
Mm.
But wow, when you re-look at 42, Zhao already said it. She outplayed. She outplayed everyone. Even though she's the weird kid, the outgoing, laughable, the emotional person that early in the game they wanted out. They wanted her out immediately. But she made it that far. So the third place. Fourth place, sadly, someone has to be in the last one. So I'm sorry, Aldi Gabler, you got to be the last one. It's not as bad as, say, the other former winners. Example, if you're gonna ask me if I rank Gabler, Ben Driebergen, or the guy who uh won the fire, Chris Underwood or something, Gabler's gonna outrank those two in the top three winners
Mm.
if you gave me those names, but not in this because just like what Zhao mentioned, this 4 seasons, this new era season, just like these winners, they are on the top half, like comparatively speaking. I'm just saying it's just like the worst of one of the best halves of Survivor
Mm.
winners we've had so far in the 44 seasons. So
Well, if you're saying
not
top
lost to
half,
Gabler.
that's still 22. So this
Yeah.
could
So
be
I'm like
18 to
saying,
19 to 22, right?
yeah, that's still a better 50% compared to
Okay.
freaking Fabio, right? or
Okay.
Bob Crowley.
All right. So yeah, so for me, of course, because he was my winner pick, so my a close second with it was Gabler, but not only because of he was my winner pick. I just loved how much he was an old Tito. That's
Ah.
what we are. We're the council of Titos, right? Martin, if you just grow your beard, yeah, you might
Yeah.
look like Gabler. So yeah, so he was such an old Tito throughout the season, and I also fell into the Pinoy baiting because he mentioned the Bataan Death March
All right. Yeah.
in
Yes.
one of the challenges. So that was for me, that was good. That's why he's number two for me, and then number three for me is Jam Jam because of how he managed the jury. Uh, and that's going to go into how uh another category that we're going to talk about later. So yeah, so Jam Jam, and yeah, I agree with Joe. He seems like such a likable guy, so that's why he's number three. And then I already mentioned this in the previous category, Marianne. I
Yes.
don't quite like Marianne. She's too loud for me, and for me, the epiphany that happened with Carolyn, where I figured that Carolyn was sensible. It didn't happen. It didn't happen with Marianne for me. So that's why she's number four because they're sort of the same. They're sort of like out there, right? They're so out there. They're almost equally weird. But Carolyn at a certain point in time in 44, at a certain point in time, she started making sense. It's just that the way that she was talking was just really out there. Was really weird. But for me, Marianne was just too out there. I couldn't quite like again the same way that I put Gabler as number two. I'm putting Marianne as number four because I'm that much of an old Tito. And for an old Tito, someone like Marianne will be really annoying. Yeah.
Mm.
So there. So that's it for me. Let's go ahead to the challenges.
All right, I'm gonna sit this one out. Huh?
Yeah, because you skipped the challenges anyway.
Yeah. On to the bench.
You are Claire. All right. Well, I'm gonna say that I don't like much of the challenges. What just stood out for me was basically how Jonathan Young performed in those challenges. But that's a cast
Yes.
point. It's not a challenge point,
Yeah.
right? So yeah, I'm even with the new era. I'm sick of the rehashed challenges and puzzles. I mean, we need new ones. And please, I'm begging CBS. I'm begging Jeff Probst, connect them to the theme. If you're gonna have a Kraken in your logo, make sure that you have at least one Kraken episode. It didn't help that in 43, Carla and Owen beat Last Gasp. So that means that they didn't quite figure it out. Actually, in my scoring, I ranked all of them 4. So all seasons are a 4 for me. So yeah. What about you, Joe?
For challenges, I put 43 and 44 at 2 because like you, none of them are like amazing.
Mm.
Wait, no, sorry. It was 42 and 43 at 2. 41 at 3 and 44 at 4. And the reason that I put 44 lower than everything else was because at this point everything was just a rehash. The reason that I put 43 better than the others was because that was where we got the return of Last Gasp.
Mm. Mm.
And 41 and 42 weren't better than 43, so I put them at 2 and 3 respectively. If that makes sense.
Yeah.
And Martin is just sitting this one out.
Yeah.
All right.
Thanks a lot, 3D printers.
Okay. Yeah. Let's go ahead to the twists. Since you
Oh.
sat the challenges part out, Martin, I think that you should start this off.
Actually, I do want that now. Because let's start with the bottom. I really hated that 41 effed up everything. This was the only effed up thing in 41. The twist. The one twist. They had to make it a cliffhanger when it shouldn't have been. That stupid shillelagh of time. Thank you for letting Erica win, but you couldn't make it in one episode. I know they regretted that because the one who made it to the next shillelagh of time was the blandest guy in the room. But at least it was an episode. You didn't make it to the next episode. You know? That was the best improvement. So from 41 at the bottom, you got to make it to 42, to 43, to 44. So my top one's going to be the recent season because not much twists was at hand during the second half, which is actually a good thing. We have been talking about that in the past few episodes. So like, thank God. I think this is the producers like learning on the fly from the past 4 seasons and improving twist after twist after twist. The only thing I don't like about this season was there was no more ship wheel in Ship Wheel Island.
There's no what? Ship wheel.
Yeah, but aside from that, it's like 44, 43, 42, 41. Up to down for me for the twist. It's
What
like
about
their
you,
learning curve.
Joe?
Yeah.
4-3-1-2. Again, 41 and 42 had the two worst twists I think the game has ever seen in Do or Die and the Shillelagh of Time, right? And I have them in that order as like the worst. Do or Die was just the worst twist ever, and the Shillelagh of Time and the Shillelagh of Time was it was a little bit better the second time around, which is why 42 is a little bit higher. So it becomes 43, 44. Which do I prefer? 44 had the Shipwheel Island or the journey. It had the two journeys that kind of sucked. The first one really sucked because they didn't have a choice. It was, you put your hand in this bag and pull something out. Like, but what about, the whole prisoner's dilemma thing? Nope. Survivor is on rails now. Right? And then the second one was, you're just gonna have some food. Like, yeah, that was really good, but that was a waste of a twist. 43.
If I may interject, it didn't have a payoff because it didn't create any controversy because it could have happened. I don't know how because say for example, they go back to their tribes, and they just tell them, "Oh, we just ate," right?
Yeah.
For sure, it could have been an opportunity for controversy, but I guess that's also on the cast for not picking up on it, or maybe production didn't think that it was necessary to show it, and because of that as well. So that's a different category. But yeah, that food. I was waiting and waiting for Carolyn to come up with an advantage that she found during that meal. But yeah, it's sad that it didn't happen.
And something about 43 in terms of twists that I really liked was I guess we should be calling this twists and advantages, right? Something that I really liked about 43 was the fact that no matter how much production tried to throw knowledge is power into the game, the cast was just having none of it. It was like, here's knowledge is power. All right, it's gone now. Here's knowledge is power. Like, we're gonna put it in the well for everybody. Just, it's gone now. Like, yeah. I like that. I like it when the cast is like, no, we're not going to play by your rules. So I guess that's why I put 43 slightly above 44. But I can see Martin. My initial thought was to go 4-3-2-1. But those journeys in 44 really killed it for me because they were just useless.
Yeah.
And like that first journey was exactly the reason that I hate to Do or Die.
The first, okay.
Yeah, the one where they like stick your hand in this bag, you have no choice.
Yeah.
It's just like you have no choice. Leave it up to fate as to whether or not you lose your vote. No strategy whatsoever. Same problem with Do or Die, right? No strategy whatsoever.
It's just
so
the odds.
Yeah.
Luck. Yeah. Yeah, well for me, well again, it's sort of the same as challenges. You can really see that I prefer like really, really old school. The rough challenges and not too many twists and advantages. Not a lot of the twists of the early and advantages of the early new era really hit with me, right? The Shillelagh of Time, that was a Do or Die, another The shot in the dark die that did not have any mechanical use other than as a token you exchange for a parchment. It might as well have been just a fire token, right? Why did they have to have a die, right? Yeah, that's on 41 and 42. Um, I like the gameplay of. I like the fact that when they introduced knowledge is power, especially in 42, it resulted in some good gameplay. That was 42. No, that was 41. Sorry, yeah, 41. It resulted in some good gameplay. We had our first flashback uh, of Evie and Xander. Sorry, Xander giving Evie
Yeah.
the idol. So because it resulted in that, so it's a little bit, and it was because of knowledge is power, right? So it kind of uh, yeah, that was kind of cool. Yeah, but then again, you have 44, season 44, where I definitely did not see the purpose of the need for the production placed fake idols, right?
Hmm.
It led to some nice gameplay and anxious moments, like when Carolyn realized that she was the only one who was away from the rest of the tribe, and when they get back to the cage, it was open. So yeah, it resulted in some anxious moments, like how was Carolyn gonna come up with it, and she came up with a red X, right? In the end, for me, it was useless because none of the production planted fake idols got played, right?
Yeah.
Uh, One can argue that with a fake idol, the players become bolder with their gameplay, but then again, that didn't quite happen. Even Jamie, who got a non-production placed fake idol, I don't I didn't really see much of a change in the way that she approached the game, knowing that she had an idol. She kept
Hmm.
on bragging about it in confessionals, but never really. I don't think it ever really influenced the way that she played the game, right? Because all of the players technically were still being so cautious with how they were being perceived by the rest of the tribe,
Hmm.
and they didn't change their behavior despite finding what they believed was a real idol. So
Hmm.
this goes, I don't know with what category this is a point against, but I really also don't like the fact that the name of the game right now is minimize your threat level, or yeah,
Uh,
manage your threat level, right? Not minimize, manage your threat level. You still have to be perceived as a somewhat of a threat, so that come final tribal, they will see you as worthy of winning. But you shouldn't be too threatening, so that they won't vote you out early, right? So yeah, if any of those who had the fake idol would have uh, thought that, or would have been emboldened by the fact that they have an idol, they would have made bolder moves, right? And I didn't really quite see that. So where does that put me in ranking them? Right? No, it's not going to be like the challenges where all of them are at 4. Uh, I still liked. So mine is 41 at the top. Uh, and then you've got 43 because of the ship wheel island, and still the gameplay that came from that,
mhm.
right? And had had the inheritance advantage been played well, or had it been played at all, and
Mhm.
had the control of vote, I like those two advantages from 44. It's just that they never got played. None of the advantages in in season 44 got played, right? Hardly any idols got played either,
Hmm.
right? So for me, it's 41, 43, 42, and 44. So that's my rank for that.
Wait,
Let
so
Yeah.
so 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 for twist 40 41 is on top.
No, 41 for me is number
Yeah.
one because
Yeah, all right,
it
all
was
right.
new. I mean, also
Yeah, yeah.
it's new. It introduced a lot of new things. Yeah. And for
Right.
me, 44 failed in introducing the new things because the new things that they introduced
We're
either
already
weren't used or were useless
yeah.
basically, or didn't quite hit as well as the it didn't result in the winner in a Filipina winning. Uh, yeah. So yeah, Let's move on to the second half of the categories. Final tribal.
Ooh.
Yeah,
This was
go.
Martin's category, so
Oh, okay. Yeah, Marts.
Okay. Let's go. Well, for me, it has to be. Well, I'll just start off. Top one would be. You'd be surprised. 43.
oh,
Then
interesting.
41, 44, 42. I don't know. I just like how
Interesting.
Gabler, Ali Gabler, like from went down here and then whoop. Wow, he has a point. Anyway, that's like a nice 180. Like, oh shit, I don't think he's gonna win too. Wow, he won. It's not just, oh, Cassidy, you should have done fire. It's like, no, nope, it's something else. Because Oben and Cassidy would have had more votes had Gabler not spoke well. And he
Mm.
proved it that way. All right. 41, because, well, Erica did a good tribal speech. And even though it wasn't like individually speaking, like the old school Survivor, they did outwit, outplay, outlast categories from the new era. Well laid out why she was there in the final three. Um, 44 is a feel good thing. That's why it's not last place out of the four. 42, I think there was something missing. I don't know what it is. That's why it's just at the bottom, at the last place for me. And
Hmm.
that's me for the final tribal.
Okay. What about you, Joe?
Oh, in a way, the opposite. Because right on top for me is 42.
Mm.
The final tribal of 42. Because I remember the moment that Marianne pulled out the Marianne pulled out
Her idol, her hidden
the
idol.
idol that she didn't use.
Yeah.
And that was like my mind was impressed. For the people that watch Fraggle Rock, you know the joke. So that was like a mind-blowing moment, right? So 42 is right on top. Because like right up until the very end, it also felt like Mike might have this. Like it felt a little bit less one-sided. It felt more even than some of the other ones. At number 2, I have 44 because Jam Jam is amazing and Carolyn is amazing, right? And Jam Jam did really well. At number 3, I have 41 because it's what got Erica to win, but there wasn't very much else interesting about it. And right at the bottom, I have 43
Mm.
because it didn't lead to a Filipino winning.
Okay.
In other words, I didn't like the final tribals of 41 and 43 as much as I like the final tribals of 42 and
42
44.
and 44. Yeah.
Yeah. And
Mm.
42 for me, it was that moment that that Marianne was able to blow everybody's mind
Mhm.
by pulling out that idol. That was such a cathartic moment. Like it doesn't it was something that you don't feel in Final Tribal, that I didn't feel in any of the final tribals of the new era. Catharsis.
Mm.
Like, I don't know. I don't
Mm.
know if that makes sense, but that's my ranking.
Nice, nice. Well, for me, I do have 41 as number one. It was the best for me because it showed me how Erica was able to not just articulate her game, but aside from that, she basically controlled tribal, right? Because Jeff has been doing Jeff Probst has been saying it in interviews that Survivor is actually a whodunit. It's a whodunit. They have the ending in sight, and they try to place as many clues as possible in order for us, the viewers, to ferret out who's gonna win,
Mm,
right? Who instead of who done it, who won it, I guess. Uh,
right.
and yeah, for me, because 41 felt like it felt like a uh, when Sherlock Holmes or Miss Marple or Poirot would gather everyone into a room and explain how simple everything is to fit to and come up with a solution. 41's final tribal felt like that to me because the jury was agreeing to what Erica was trying to say was saying in her in her final statement, I think. Something
Mm,
similar also with Jam Jam, but there was something that happened in the final tribal of 44 that I didn't quite agree with. Now, so 41's number one, and with 42, I like the fact that that we had a lot of bombs that came out, or a couple of bombs that came out, right? Cassidy had this thinking that okay, I deserved my spot. And I did all of these moves. I did this. I did that. I did whatever. I did whatever. And
mm.
then you got Jesse and Carla saying, "Nope, that's not it."
So
And
sad.
yeah, so that yeah, it's poor Cassidy. She either out of spite, she was led to believe that she didn't really have agency in what was happening, and the person who seemed to have the least agency came out as the alligator, right? He came out with the right moves, and he was able to get the jury to agree with him. Uh, Next for me is 42 because of the exquisite performance of Marianne.
Mm,
How Marianne was able to really, yeah, going back to what Zhao said, that bomb as well, that idol that she kept hidden, and then all of a sudden, bam! I didn't even need to use this, like and I don't quite like Marianne as a winner, but the way that she used that in the final tribal, that was pretty good. In 44, I have it number four, so it's 41, 43, 42, 44. I have it at last because okay, we have this sort of antagonistic final three member, right? In Heidi, because she kept on interjecting, she kept on patronizing, but it didn't lead to any drama. There was no payoff. There
mm,
was no payoff. Jam Jam had more drama in what he'd been doing the entire season. Carolyn had more drama in what she had been doing the entire season. The tribal was just the final tribal was just for me. It was bland. It was
mm,
bland for me. I mean, yeah, Jam Jam was able to control the narrative. Carolyn, unfortunately, was too in her feelings to be able to articulate her strategy.
mm,
And I just yeah, she ended up being my final winner pick, but I didn't quite like how she kept on. She tried to fight for her win because I think that they were told that you need to fight, you need to show us that you were fighting for your spot. But she tried to, but again, it's I think it's because the entire cast of season 44 is so nice that she couldn't bring herself to like really be antagonistic in the final tribal. So yeah, so that's
mm.
why 44 is number 4 for me. Yeah. So it's 41, 43, 42, 44.
Okay.
Ready.
All right. Now we go to a category that I don't quite know how to describe or how we're going to use it. But Jao, since you're the
Same.
one who, you're the one, I think.
I think this was Martin as well.
Was this Martin? Oh, okay.
Not me. Jeff?
Yeah.
Is this the Jeff one?
Yeah.
I was gonna ask you. Well, I don't think this is any seasons in the past 4 seasons. He was catty. He was being a bitch to anyone because he actually likes all 4 cast members.
Yeah, because he had a strong hand in casting all of them.
Yeah, like you don't see the Jeff from One World, the Jeff from Gabon. Like, God, make this stop. God, please, no. Why? We don't have that Jeff. This is like Grandpa Jeff.
Mm.
You know what I mean? Like, oh yeah, go ahead. Like, I won't say come on in, guys. Do you want me to say guys, or let's just say come on in? Like at the start of 41. Like, even though he was heavy handing that one, it seemed like, new era, new things. You guys want to shake things up? We don't really, but if that's what you want, Jeff, okay then.
Oh wait, this is Joel's category. Sorry, I was just
Was
back
it
reading
mine?
the chat. Yeah, dude.
Oh,
I think,
okay.
yeah, it was more of Joel. So, because I don't know
Mhm.
how we can categorize Jeff in 4 seasons.
Oh no, I have. I have.
I actually
there's-
do
No
have also.
Gabon, because there's
Yeah.
no Gabon.
For me, it's 41. Wait, from top to bottom.
Yeah, top to bottom.
Yeah, from top to bottom, it's 43, 44, 42, and 41 because I like sassy Jeff.
Mm.
So on 41, he was the least sassy.
Mm-hmm.
42, he got a little bit more sassy. 43, he was really sassy because I think it was his least favorite cast. And 42, he was a bit more sassy than he was with 41 and 42.
Mm.
So like that's why I'm putting it like that, because he was like he got increasingly more sassy. So
Yeah.
I'm guessing Joel has more or less the same, but
Yeah, more or less the same. But for me, it's 1, 2, 3, 4. That's 4, 3, 2, 1 for me. So 41. Sorry, it's 44, 43, 42, 41.
yeah.
Because I think that Jeff gradually, I mean, 41, it was at the height of the pandemic.
Yeah.
Everyone had was suffering from a certain level of depression or anxiety. So Jeff, it was understandable that Jeff had to take a step back. But yeah, to what Martin said, it became bland. Jeff became a bland version of himself. He was too okay. Are we gonna? Okay, he was bending over backwards to try and accommodate the 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 state that his cast must have been in, right?
Yeah.
And I saw the gradual increase in comfort, and maybe by season 44, the restraints in the lockdown in whatever in the US had already been starting to get relaxed, right? So Jeff started to relax as well, because that that's what that felt to me, right? By
Mhm.
season 44, he got so relaxed. He was able to enjoy whatever Jam Jam was giving him, whatever Carolyn was giving him, whatever any of the castaways were giving him. He was having fun, and it made it because of the cast, and he was having fun because he was relaxed. So that Jeff for me was the best Jeff so far in these 4 seasons. So yeah, so from
Okay.
top to bottom, it's 44, 43, 42, 41.
I get the feeling that he was also pushing back a little bit more,
In
Mm.
41.
like in 43 and 44,
Yeah.
Oh.
right? And like 41 and 42, he was just like
He was really like
yeah.
it was kid gloves. He was
Yeah,
it
yeah,
felt
basically.
like that. So if that's the Jeff category, like the category where I see Jeff having most fun, then I'll go with Joel's too. Because like I mentioned, 41 is like, hey guys, I have this line. You want me to take it out if you feel uncomfortable? not gonna name names who the cast is, but you know who you are. Evie, Ricard, that thing. Had we had
But
an
Evie
episode per
did go
episode
and
thing,
say, if I remember correctly, Evie
right?
was it Evie?
Evie,
Evie
they
later
didn't
on
commit.
said that
They didn't commit. Yeah,
they would have preferred not to have changed it.
exactly.
Yeah.
Right? Like that's Evie. They already told that to Jeff. Like, oh, I'll still take it out anyway.
Because was it
Like, it's
Ricard? Was it
weird.
Ricard that's was it Ricard that sort of
Who
pushed back
eventually
on it?
said it?
Oh,
Yeah,
was
'cause
it Ricard? I don't quite
no, I
remember
think
who
it
it
was.
was.
I think it
so.
was.
It was
I think it
Ricard,
was
yeah.
Evie.
Uh-huh.
I think it was Evie that was being conservative about it. Like right at the beginning, like no, it's fine, it's fine, it's
Yes.
tradition, whatever. And then I think it was Ricard that
Yes, that's
said
right.
like no, because of, and then so
Mm.
and then eventually Evie
Yeah,
came to
got
agree
the
with
message.
Ricard, and I'm glad that the lesson that Jeff learned from this was not to make a big deal out of it.
Mm.
Yeah,
That was
right?
his. That was the big problem with it. It wasn't the fact that he changed anything. It was the fact that they
He
made
made it a
such a
survivor
big
moment.
deal.
Deal
Yeah,
out of it.
yeah. It's just like virtue signaling, but
Yeah.
come on, man. You know,
It's ironic. Those two called it out, but then they said, "But now that you mention it, okay, here you go."
yeah.
And it's like the new version. It's like the new age version of as a millennial, as a Gen X. How do you feel about this challenge, or how do you feel about this situation, guys? Like millennials versus Gen X. That's like he was trying to stick it to them. Every tribal council, every challenge. That's how it felt in 41 for me, for Jeff.
Mm.
But
Hmm.
yeah, I'll agree. I'm going with Joel's ranking. Like the ranking
Mm.
of Jeff's having more restraint, the sassiness level coming back, like him being him, not him being under the nose of CBS or whoever executives were on. That's why he did that.
I agree with Joel's theory. I'd like to think that Joel's theory, is is well accurate. No, that it was
Yes.
well a mix of two things. One, it was pandemic, and
Mm.
everybody was just objectively nicer during the pandemic to the people around them. To their political opponents, they were a lot more vicious,
Oh
right?
yeah.
Like that was the great irony of the pandemic. If you didn't agree, if you were on the other side of the political aisle, you became more violent, more vicious and more violent. But to the people directly around you, you were so much nicer. Now it's sort of back to normal, which is why I guess Jeff is becoming more Jeff-like. But then also, because as Joe pointed out, it was Jeff's hand in casting as well. So he didn't have anybody on those casts that he didn't necessarily want to be there, because most of not all of them were his choices.
Mm.
There wasn't too much pressure from the higher ups to say, like, hire good looking white girls,
Yeah.
know.
No cookie,
Like,
cookie lady, cookie lady.
yeah, right. The lady from China, right? Who for Survivor China, who was like a waitress or something, right?
Mm.
Like, nobody like that, right? Like, so Jeff did have to did mellow out. So 43, when he started pushing back against Mariah, like, what do you mean Kumbaya? I'm like, whoa,
Oh, he's back.
he's back.
I'm just gonna wait for him to say, "You're the one who needs to make the deal. My life is fine." My life is fine.
Yeah. So
Alright.
yeah, that's the Jeff category. Apparently, I was the one who. Let's move on to the second to the last category that we've got: storytelling.
Yes.
Ooh, I'm a storyteller. Story-
Now, I believe this was also mine.
Yeah.
I think
Yeah.
this is the one
Or-
that all of us had
Oh.
sort of at the back of our minds. Is probably the thing that's the most important
Mhm.
for whether or not we like whether or not we like a season.
Yeah. So who wants to start this?
All right.
Um,
Is it wrong for me to say the top one for me would be 44?
I mean,
Okay.
Why so? Yeah, I mean, it's your ranking.
Okay. Because for the first time, we mentioned it in the previous episode. They bookmarked the thing from start to finish. We started with Carolyn, and at the ending of the season, Siakan's back on it, back to episode one. Like, remember the time when you just talked to me about this thing, and we were starting about the whole, you know, confessional. Like, wow, they finished the story. Think about that, Cody Rhodes. Cody and then
Okay, for those in the audience who are like me who are not
oh
wrestling
yeah, it's
fans,
not a wrestling
what
fan.
is that? What is that alluding to?
That illusion. There's this wrestler named Cody Rhodes who kind of looks like Homelander from The Boys. Famous son of a wrestling legend, the late Dusty Rhodes, who wants to quote unquote finish his story and defeat Roman Reigns back in WrestleMania for the world title. Sadly, he did not. He lost.
one of the big lines that he had when he was talking, um, during like the wrestling shows was, "I'm Cody Rhodes and I'm going to finish my story." Right? Because he's had a very long and tumultuous history with the WWE. He moved to another company, etc., etc. And so when he got back into the WWE, he started talking about, "I'm going to finish my story," and we were all, and all of the wrestling fans were kind of expecting him to win the WWE Championship at WrestleMania as a way to quote unquote finish the story, but he lost. And so it kind of became a meme where everybody was like, "Well, he didn't finish his story."
Maybe that was the finish of his story. He was gonna lose.
Yeah, maybe it was a tragedy.
Yeah.
Written by Shakespeare.
Right. Okay.
Okay, so
all right. Thank
top
you for
one's
that
44.
context.
Yeah. That one's 44. Top two is 41 because kababayan card again.
We've
top
been
three,
playing
yeah.
this all throughout this episode.
We're sorry, guys. We're gonna do it for the culture way better than 41 did. Because we won. Because we won. And then the third place would be for me, 43, and then 42. 41 is second place because I love how they did the flashbacks. Like, as you mentioned, Evie and Xander.
Mhm.
And then how we found out somebody had the third line. We
That's
never
42.
knew. Oh, that's 42? Is that?
Yeah.
Whoa, okay.
Nasir, right?
Nasir is
That was 41. That was
right?
41.
Oh, 41.
That's 41.
Okay.
That's 41. You know how masterful
Goat
that
on
was. Like,
AstroTurf.
yeah, like, wait, it was Nasir all along? Flashback. Flashback. Whoa. Holy shit. That was fun. That was good, man. 43 because the story of Gabler, Jesse, Assman, like their flashbacks were, they really made you root for them. And 44 was good. 44 was great, but not as good as how 41, 43 did it.
Oh, so wait. So what's your ranking?
40,
I thought you said 44 was number one.
Yeah, 44 is number one.
Oh, okay.
Oh, sorry. I mean 40. Sorry. Yeah, thank you for pointing that out. 42 was my last because it wasn't as good as how 41,
Oh,
43 did
okay.
it. There. Thank you for the correction. I was like, oh shit, that's right.
Because I could see like Ja was like, wait,
Yeah,
what
like, wait,
what
what
is
the-
he? What is Martin saying?
Right, so
I
it's-
keep dropping the 4.
So it's 44, 41, 43, 42.
42. Yeah, there we go.
All right, cool.
Sorry.
All right. What you got, Mart? Jao.
Um, all the storytelling was really good for the new era. I don't have anything at number 4. I have a tie at number 3, but right on top is 44
Mm-hmm.
because they were able to tell the stories that they wanted to tell. even though I don't like the story that they told. With anyway, um, yeah. So 44 followed by 43. I like the hiding in plain sight story,
Mm.
and I like how they hid the hiding in plain sight. Like it works really well after a rewatch. Because like in the moment people were like, "What?" But then after you watch it again, the whole who done it thing was most clear in 43, and it was executed very well
Mm.
in
True.
43. And then 41 and 42 I have as a tie for third. Um 41 was, well, 43 is what 41 should have been as well, in in
Mhm.
in a way, right? Like I saw what they were trying to do, because Erica was kind of like a hidden kind of player that wins from out of nowhere.
Yeah.
um and that's sort of what it felt like for the viewer. It just doesn't feel good as a viewer, to have that, to have those same feelings, basically. So like it would have, I don't know how they're going, how they could have done it better, but show us that she's not being seen instead of not showing her,
Mm.
right?
Mm.
But that being said, the stories that they told, the stories of the other characters that they did tell, were told very well.
Mm.
Just they didn't do it that well with um with with Erica,
Mhm.
and by extension Heather,
Yeah. Yeah.
right?
Yeah. I like
And
that.
well,
I like what you said. Yeah. Anyway, go ahead.
and sort of tied there is 42.
Mm.
Yeah, tied with that is 42, because the story, um the story of the Orange Tribe sticking together and eventually falling apart was done so well. And um the it had a lot of, like set up, payoff, set up, payoff, set up, payoff. So 42, I can't put it lower than 41. So I guess it's 44, 43, and then tied for tied for third are 41 and 42. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. For me, but I like what I said. I like what you said about show us Erica not being seen rather than not showing her to us. That's a nice phrase. Because that's what we got. Say, for example, with Carolyn, we she was being shown as being underestimated by the
Mm.
rest of the tribe, and it wasn't just it was we weren't being just told, right? It's film language, right? You don't
Yeah.
you show, you don't tell, and we were shown that made us empathize more with Carolyn. And actually, that's my basis for the storytelling is what stories are they trying to tell, right?
Right.
That's why I've got 44 on top, because they were telling the stories of these people who, well, as a whole, most of them, if not all of them, are probably those that would be underestimated in the real world. And that's why I think the focal character of season 44 had to be Carolyn, because she herself is very much underestimated by even the group that she was among, right? So and I loved how they were able to find that that story, and they were able to find the hero who characterized the story that they were trying to tell to a T,
Mhm.
right? Now, next is 43. Uh, because we had Dr. Jesse, right? He was the focal person, and I also liked how they were telling the story of Carla uh, throughout the season, and of course, just like you, I like the hiding in plain sight. Right, I was enjoying it as it was coming up, and then Gabler came up with had that confession where he was like, "Okay, I'm an alligator. I'll come up when I need to, and I'll snap, and I'll go back down." And that for me encapsulated his entire story. And then, yeah, like what you said, with a rewatch, you see all of that. You see how it is the story that they were trying to tell. Right, the who done it is clearer on a rewatch. Now with 41, again, this time, well, this is me using the Kababayan card, but that's in order for me to put her at number three. That season in number three because of Erica. She was for me became the focal character, especially after using for the first time the shillelagh of time. Right. Again, going back to our twists and advantages, such a bad advantage, such a bad twist. Yeah, and even the stories of Shan and Ricard, Ricard being partially or fully deaf on one
Mm,
ear,
yeah.
and how he was able to overcome that and become one of the better strategic players, especially in the new era. And yeah, that use of flashback, uh, that use of flashback to upend the knowledge is power and to activate the idols. That was pretty cool. In 42, I couldn't quite see what the story was. I couldn't quite see it. Uh, Maybe again because she's not one of my preferred winners. The Who Done It didn't work for me because she was too out there, right?
Mm.
If Gabler and if Gabler and Erica were hiding in plain sight, she wasn't hiding at all. Mary Ann wasn't hiding at all. She was like, "I'm here," right. So yeah, so that's for me. That for me, I don't know. That's why 42 is number four for me in terms of storytelling. And I didn't find a focal person, a focal point in the story as well.
Agreed. It felt all over the place. 42 compared to the other three seasons.
Sorry,
Agreed. There's
right?
nothing you can say who's the focal point there. Because 44 Carolyn, 43 Jesse,
Mm.
41 at least you have Erica in the final half. But it was Ricard, Shan, and the others who were in the other half. But 42 is like, who you got?
Yeah, Jonathan Young.
Jonathan,
Yeah,
yeah.
aside from that chiseled,
Mm.
good-looking tall man, you know. All right, so what's the last
But you know,
category? Yeah.
with 40, wait, just going back to
Sorry, yeah.
just going back to the quote unquote story of 42. I still think it was an ensemble. It was
Mhm.
the story of the Taku Four.
Mm. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Okay. Now I get it. Now I get it.
Like I think that's what the story that they were trying to tell, but I don't think they did it very well.
Mhm.
I mean, or
Yeah,
rather,
I agree.
they could have done it better. Is what I mean to say, because
Yeah.
it came through to me, but like yeah, they could have done it. They could have done it better.
Right.
They have done stories about tight alliances better in the past, and they did do it quite well in 44.
Mm.
But and they also do know how to tell stories about when alliances break. They've done that before. So I don't know, maybe they were trying something new with 42, but there we go. That's just me.
Yeah.
But that
Yeah.
that, that was my read on 42.
Yeah. Now that you mention it, yeah, I think I agree with that. Yeah. Okay. Let's go ahead to the last category. Fun.
Fun.
Who
Everyone
wants to
was
take a crack
fun.
at this?
Fun.
Everyone was.
I assume everybody's going to have 44 as number one.
Yeah. I got
Wait,
it.
yeah.
Thanks, Carolyn, Jem made it fun for me.
Yeah.
Like, it was a breath of fresh air.
It was
I don't know.
again. I mentioned this in our previous episode. I think. It's because they weren't the typical cast.
Game ba?
They were more representative of society, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
That's what made it fun, and we had all of these crazy characters as well. You've got these atypical castaways doing really well, right? You've got
Yeah.
Franny. Franny she herself didn't think of herself as athletic, but she
Challenge
was a
beast.
challenge beast, right? And you've got Jam and Carolyn, the bickering sisters, who while they were bickering, they were cleaning house,
Yeah.
basically,
Yeah.
right? Even Heidi, to a certain point, she's in a way she was always underestimated as well, but she had something to offer. She what do you call this? She beat the record for the fastest ever fire on in Final Four, right? So
Mm.
that was fun. That was fun.
It was a fun season.
All right.
Now for yeah,
what's your
I'll just continue, I guess.
Yeah.
My second one, well, yeah, I've been I've been harping on this, but yeah, Jonathan Young made 42 fun. Because he just looked like a man among children.
Yes.
Yeah, and that's the source of the fun there. How he was able to just drag everyone
Literally.
to the finish line. For me, 41 is number 3 because I go back to characters. I can't remember. I can't and moments. So the flashback moments, the pulling pigtails moments between Xander and Shan. Sorry, Xander and what's her name?
Liana.
Liana. Yeah. Uh, and Shan and Ricard. I mean, Shan with the hum, the villain hum. And Ricard just doing really well. I go back to 40 again, and 43 for me. It was the least fun because I I guess it's par for the course because they wanted things to seem like what do you call this, ho hum, not too intense,
Mm.
because that was the story that they were trying to tell. They wanted people to not really have a good grasp or a clue as to who really was gonna win. So yeah,
Hmm.
so that's it for me.
Right. For me, top 44, straight
Mm.
up. Then I like, as with Joe, 42. It was fun. I'm also going to add to that. Omer was also so much fun in
Mm.
42. Like seeing seeing him be like sneaky, you know, like that was Omer Zahir. And I really enjoyed. I really found, I really found him a lot of fun, and I'm gonna say that I had a lot of fun watching Roxroy. You know, being the curmudgeon, not a lovable curmudgeon, just a curmudgeon. You know, like that guy was fun. And seeing and then seeing Hoboken Mike, that was also a lot of fun. Like seeing the dude that you would expect to be, you know, the gruff like, "Rrr," but then has a heart of gold, like, whoa, yeah. All these feelings, right? Like I quite like that. Um so it became between 43 and 41.
Mm.
Which am I going to rank lower? I have 43 just a little bit higher than 41. Uh, I found 41, like when watching it, was a lot of fun, but when thinking about it, it's a lot heavier.
Mm. Yeah.
I find 41 to be a lot heavier, which you know, yeah, but it's not fun. you know, like 43 had Cody.
Mm.
So, to me that's what sort of brought it a little bit higher. And yeah, 41 was it was heavier. I found it heavier. Because the characters like JD and Voce had gone by the in the pre-merge. Like it became a lot less um explosive, if you will, a lot less dynamic, like JD would have been great in 44, for example. So yeah, overall I think that's my ranking. 44, 42, 43, 41. Martin.
Okay, so I'm just going like countdown. So 44, obviously, 43, and then 42. For me, like you just mentioned earlier, it's the ass man, and like everything else. I just like how this cast was too. Uh,
Hmm.
just like not as good as what 44 or 41, but it made it fun. I'm glad you mentioned the whole thing about JD going out, Jose going out, Brad going out early for 41, because I also have it in my last place. I switched 42 and 43 because as much as I like, you know, that Omar and Hoboken Mike, I found a bit, for some reason, I found 43 cast a bit more fun. And while I was watching last season and this season, I had more fun than the first two seasons of the new era. Maybe because for me, 41 already wasn't as fun because you had Jeff being heavy handed. We mentioned it earlier with him having kid gloves. Like, yes, this is the pandemic. Yes, we're having a lot of things going on while you're filming this. You're having Black Lives Matter for these guys in North America. You're
Mm.
having a lot of people dying due to COVID. I think that was still under the cloud of the pandemic. We were watching Survivor 41 during 2021, right? Did I get it right? Was it that time? I was still halfway across the world.
Mm.
Yes.
So we were still watching it. I don't think we still had the vaccination yet. So we're watching it indoors,
Yeah.
not knowing if we'll be alive in the next 2 years. So I don't think we'd ever have fun in the first place. Like this might be the last season of Survivor a lot, so might as well watch. Yay!
See that?
We're watching it under the microscope of COVID. Like, goddamn, that was a huge ass cloud. In
I can see
general,
that.
Yeah.
I
Same.
couldn't have fun. Period.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Wow.
that's it. That's it.
All right. Cool. All right. So we've given all of our rankings. Zhao.
All right. So, for me, um, as it turns out, I've been enjoying the seasons more and more as they've as time goes on. Because for me, it is in ascending order:
Mm.
41, 42, 43, 44. For Joel, uh, the one you liked the least was 42,
Mm-hmm.
then 43, and then 41 and 44 are tied at first.
Ooh.
Ooh.
Okay.
For Martin, the season it looks like you ranked the lowest was 42,
Mhm.
followed by 41, then 43 and 44.
Ooh, okay.
So I'm just averaging all of our
Yeah.
scores out, and the official Council of Titos ranking, as it turns out, coincides with Martin.
Ooh.
where our favorite season is 44, might be the recency bias,
Yes.
followed by 43, a little less recency bias, but still there nonetheless, followed by 41. We're playing the Pinoy card. And right at the bottom, we have 42.
42. Yeah.
So that's our Council of Titos ranking.
Mm-hmm.
And next season, I get the feeling we're gonna do something different. We're just going to say whether we prefer the current season,
This one, but yeah, over
45 to
44.
any of the
yeah.
other
Or
ones.
where would we put it in the
Yeah,
the
yeah.
Looking
rankings?
back.
Yeah. So that is our
Official rankings
official
of
ranking.
the early new era. I'm calling it. This is the early new era.
Yeah.
And then starting 45, it'll be like the late early new era.
The mid new era, the mid new era.
Mid-era. The mid-era.
All right. Any other final thoughts about 41 to 44, guys?
Well,
I like the new era. Like,
yeah.
you know, it has a lot to do with the casts being so much better.
Mm-hmm.
And some of the what do you call it? And some of the experiments that production is like doing when it comes to their editing and storytelling.
Yeah.
I'm not a particularly big fan of everything that they're putting into the game, like twists, advantages, etc. But when it boils down to it, I'm finding that Survivor is about people and their stories, and the way that Survivor has been choosing people to tell stories about and the way they are telling those stories, I find that better than a lot of the earlier seasons. So on the whole, the new era is a bit of a win.
Nice. I could not have put it any better. What about you, Marts?
I can't. If you want me to make it better than how Zhao pronounced it, I'd be as confused as a goat on AstroTurf, trying to figure out what I can say.
All
You
righty.
you can make it better with a side of pizza.
Or side of pizza.
Alrighty then. If there are no other thoughts, that is it for this episode of the Council of Titos. If you liked our video, again, please do hit the like button so we don't get voted off the channel. Also consider hitting the subscribe button and the bell icon so you will get notified whenever we come up with new content on the channel. We have other shows on it focused on sports and other similar things. Speaking of which, the next episode you're gonna see us play a one shot, hopefully just a one shot of a D&D themed, sorry, a Survivor themed Dungeons and Dragons one shot. All right. I may cut it into 2 episodes because usually one shots take longer. But anyway, yeah, so that's what's happening in the next couple of episodes. And for those of you who don't want to have to look at our mugs as we talk Survivor, you can catch us wherever you get your podcasts. Just search for Council of Titos. Anyway, this has been Chief Pistak, Joel Parcon.
I'm Joe.
And Martin.
We hope that you can join us on the Council again soon. Until then, stay safe, everyone. The Titos have spoken.